Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. And I have a question. Why? What? Okay, how do I phrase it? I want to know why people hate on this movie so much. Yes, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. The first one came out, and that you know, I liked it. Not a lot of people did. I enjoyed it. Remember that came out, and I enjoyed it, and then everyone just sort of disliked it. But they acknowledged that if you're a fan of the games, you're gonna like it. So keeping that in mind, this came out, and now there's so much hate for this movie. But it seems that they forgot what they said the first time the first movie. We're like, oh, this movie's just bad. It's not bad. But it's in the same ballpark of if you're a fan of the games, you'll like this, right? Because I know they put a lot of lore from the games in this. And I also want to say that there are a lot of people say that you're only gonna like these movies if you're a fan of the games. Bullshit. Because I like both of these movies. And I have never played the game once. But I'm interested in the lore of these movies. And I like this one. Sure, there's some issues. But the biggest issue is that this feels like a bridging the gap kind of movie. This feels like a movie that's going to lead us to the next one. Because they set up things at the end of the first one that they don't even go through with here. Instead, they introduce some new stuff, which is interesting. And then they are setting up the third film, which I hope the third film is the last one. Here's what you want to do. Okay. Do the third one, but make sure, and I don't care how much money this next one makes, do a third one and make sure you write it as the final chapter. I don't care if it makes a lot of money. There needs to be a point where a franchise can end. Remember back in the day when you had a trilogy of movies and it just ended? Right? The original Star Wars trilogy had an end. I don't want to say the original Indiana Jones movies had an end, but you know. Even the Terminator trilogy at one point, there was that end. You could continue on from that end at the end of 3, but that pretty much brought us full circle. Then they decided, then when Salvation came out, I'm like, okay, let's just do a bridge the gap and go from point A to point B and show us how we get to the beginning of the first Terminator. And they went, we're going to do a trilogy. So we have to take forever. And this whole first movie is not, we have to fill her for 3 movies. And then we didn't even get the other 2. And that's why I assume this movie made enough money, because it made about as much as the first one did. $239.6 million on a $36 to $51 million budget. It made money. So do a third one. And establish that it will be the last one. And I know a lot of times they do that in the marketing. It's going to be the last one and it makes money. And they go, oh, you know what, we could do one more. No. What we need, especially with the reception that these movies get, just do one more to satisfy those who actually like these movies and finish it off. Because this just felt like a bridge movie, you know what I mean? Where it sets up some things, but the movie is so open-ended. It's because they knew the first one did well. They want to do another one. Okay. So we start with it being 2 years after the events of the first film, and I immediately forgot that these are supposed to take place in the 2000s. So what are we, in 2007 now? 2002. So the first one was in the year 2000 then? Okay. And we actually start with a flashback to 1982 at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Restaurant. And I'm seeing the way this restaurant looks, and I go, did they redesign the restaurant? This doesn't look anything like the one from the... Did they forget what it looked like? Well, no, there's actually a reason why it looks different. There is a little girl named Charlotte Emily, who's the character from the games. She is there. She's waiting for her favorite character, which was the marionette, to come out of its little hole. And again, I'm like, that... They never mentioned that in the first one. Because it's... She sees William Afton in the bunny suit. It's not it's just the bunny suit. Lure a little boy to the back. She tries to plead to the parents, who for some reason are just assholes. And this is my first issue. Parents wouldn't act like this. I know there's a reason they do for the purpose of this film. But as a parent, if someone came up to me and said, hey, something happened to the little boy got taken, I'd be like, what? What? First I go, is it okay, my child? And then I'd be like, okay, let's get some help from security or something. Every adult she goes to blows it off. She goes to the first person. You need help, the little boy needs help. Go find your parents. Little boy needs help. Go find your parents. And then he goes to the next one. Don't bother me. It's like, no, parents will not act like that. They only act like that because they're written to act like that. Parents would not act like that. Any parent, when they're told a child is in trouble, whether it's theirs or someone else's child, would immediately go, what? Huh? Where? They would not ignore you. She's able to rescue the boy, but off screen, of course, is PG-13. She does get stabbed, and she falls through the onstage trapdoor where she's held up by the marionette animatronic. And through the opening, we find out that this incident was, pushed back. It was called an accident, and this is it's going to be an accident, and blah blah blah. But during the flashback, Charlotte is seen talking to a little blonde girl, and I called it meaning. I said, that's Vanessa. Or actually what I said was, that's the one chick, because I forgot her name. It's Vanessa. That's her. And spoiler, I was right. And I'm going to say I called it again. As we catch up. Hold on. We catch up with our characters from the last film. Mike, who was trying to repaint the house, I guess. We find out that their aunt is not dead. Like I said. I've said all along. People are like, oh, the Freddy killed the aunt. I'm like, she's not dead. The people who did the first film said she's not dead. You have to watch the next one and find out what happened to her. And all this was that she went nuts because she claimed it was the bear that attacked her, so she's in a nut house. Which is fine, because I hated that character in the first movie. I found her to be too much of a cliche of a character. Don't need her anymore. I'm glad she's not in this movie, because I was like, because I felt like, especially after watching this, if they had found a way to put her in this, it would be too much of them just squeezing her in there. It'd be too much. Vanessa's also fine, despite the fact that at the end of the last one, she was in a hospital. They didn't even try to have any suspense. She's fine. She's having dreams now. But unlike the first one, they don't focus too much on the dreams. She does have one sequence where we see Matthew Lillard with the kitchen knife, because everyone wanted to see that. But I do feel like people were disappointed that it's just a dream sequence. I was a little bit kind of thing, but so Abby goes to school. She's got a project from her asshole teacher, Wayne Knight. I know he has a name, but he's Wayne Knight. By the way, I like the little goatee thing he's got going on. Look, I know he did it in the past, but, you know, the gray on it. Pretty cool. So he wants them to build real but robotic projects, and says that the animatronics from Freddy Fazbear are not real robotics. The fuck they aren't. I'm sorry, you need real mechanics to build stuff like that. And he also pisses all over the horror festival called Fazfest that apparently spawned from the Legend of the Murders. I don't know why you would do any of that. It's like in Wrong Turn 5, was it? Where they had the Festival of the Mountain Men. Why? Also, that's still supposed to be a prequel, so they wouldn't have done much but kill in that the nut house in the fourth one. I don't know, that movie's, I don't know. But Abby misses her friends. You know, the evil ghost that tried to murder them. I don't know why they glossed over this. She said, I miss my friends. They tried to kill you! But yeah, I missed them. Sure. I know that at the end they did save her. So there's that, but that's because they turned it. But they did at one point try to... I don't know. So yeah, she missed that, and Mike says, I'm trying to fix them, but it turns out that they just disappeared or something. There's pieces of them all over the place. They don't really explain what happened, and they're all in one piece later in the movie, so I don't know what happened. They're just gone, I guess. And so she has that. But I do like how he has fun with her. He's like, hey, you have 1 million tickets. You can buy anything you want. You want some gummy bears that are probably old as hell? My worst. Apparently, no, it's this talking thing, which as soon as you see it, you go, okay, so some ghosts are going to talk to her or something. Yeah, and then we cut to some ghost hunter people, which is McKenna Grace, Teo Briones, and a couple other people who are ghost hunters. And they're supposed to be like because in the 2000s, the ghost hunting was, by 2002, I don't know if ghost hunters was a thing, no, but whatever. And they talk about, we're going to this place, Freddy Fazbear's. Hey, we gotta in because Mike, the security guard, is letting us in. And I'm like, no, he's not. You're lying. They get there, and he's like, oh, hey, you're Mike? And he's like, call me Michael. And I'm like, this is not Mike. What are we doing? Well, it turns out this is a course correction. And you're not going to tell me otherwise. So when the first one came out, and the main character was named Mike, a lot of hardcore fans were pissed that he wasn't Michael Afton from the games. Instead, they created a new character, Mike. So, to course correct, they brought in the real Michael Afton as a character in this movie. Sure. And so the Ghost Hunter people start to walk around, and Lisa, that's McKenna Grace's character, finds and deactivates a music box which awakens the marionette. Apparently the music box makes her sleep, I don't know. And she's possessed by the vengeful spirit of Charlotte. And she can not only possess Lisa, but control the restaurant's toy animatronics, which brings us the toy variations from the games. Right. So now it's on, apparently. Abby gets a message on the fast talker from Toy Chico. She believes to be the Chica. possessed by her friend, and the franchise restaurant. So there's two locations. Franchise restaurant, which is the one from the first movie, and the original location, which is the one from the flashback, which is why it looks different. Okay? Okay. So she ends up going to the original location where the toy chica, voiced by Megan Fox. When they announced that, I'm like, but they don't talk. Why is this one talking? Because they're possessed, but it sounds like Megan Fox. And I don't know. I don't know. And she helps her build a robot for her science fair. Which is cheating, but whatever. You know they had their parents make them those science projects for them anyway back in the day. You know that. Right? But when Mike was there at the original location, he found a flyer saying that Freddy's his murder. And so he talks to a guy named, skims over it on here, Henry Emily, who's Skeet Ulrich's character. Right? And he gets all the information about what happened. So, yeah. And it's revealed that the animatronics cannot leave the building because there are safeguards put in specifically by Vanessa to stop them from leaving. Right? Vanessa tries to talk to Mike when she hears about Abby going to the original location. But Mike dismisses her because he now realizes that she knew about the other murder that wasn't known before this. And so he sort of just is like, no, I don't want anything to do with you, go away. And then this really pissed me off. I wanted to punch Wayne Knight in the face. She shows up to the giant. She shows up at her science fair with the robot. And he's like, oh, I didn't think you were going to be involved with this. And she's like, well, she's like, I don't have a table. He goes, oh, I didn't know. I thought you weren't going to do this. And she's like, no, I got my own robot. He goes, oh, well, here, let me put it over here. And just drops it on the ground. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Here, let me throw that in the trash, and I'll give you participation. I'll give you a good grade for this. And I'm like, he's an asshole. Why? What is his point? She also has like this little friend, this boy, that I thought was going to have more of a presence in this movie, but not. Because he's the only one that believes her. Because she's telling stories on the bus, and he's the only one that believes her. So I thought he's going to go back to there with her, but no. Don't know what the point of that character was with her. So then we get also, I guess now is when he goes to talk to Charlotte's father, Henry. Okay. So I guess he called him and now he goes to talk to him. And he finds out that Abby has gone missing from school. So Mike goes to the original restaurant after Henry gives him a new music box to leave there for Charlotte. Did I miss something? Oh, Vanessa travels to the original restaurant, discovers the marionette has awakened and is captured by the possessed Lisa. Right. So, they can't leave because of this safeguards. They threaten to kill Abby unless she types in the code that disables the thing. So she does, and then the toy chica gets out. All the animatronics get out, and rightfully so. They kill Wayne Knight. He deserves it. And now they're going after all the parents, and I feel like this is where a lot of the people watching will go, huh? Because the plot here now is that Charlotte felt uh, ignored by the parents that she tried to get them to help. And because they didn't, she now wants revenge on all parents. So I could see if her spirit went after the parents that were there, or their kids, or their kids' kids by this point. But to just simply go all the way to all parents. And at one point, she's like, you did this. And like, what did we do? Like, yeah, they didn't do anything. I do like, though. Well, there is a point. So, Mike arrives and saves Vanessa. Mike stays at the original location to remotely track them and try to shut them down, while Vanessa tries to help Abby and try to save the other parents. And she does run over one. And I do like how she gets the parents out of there and says the parents to the neighbor. And it's revealed it's the lawyer from the first one. He's like, you two look like you could use a good lawyer. Nice to have him back. Poor guy. What was his name again? It's not even... He's not on here. Not credited. Jeremiah. Yeah, Jeremiah was confusing. Like, who? Mike's former co-worker. So was he the other security guard? Right? I guess. Hold on. I need to find out the name of the lawyer. Here's the first one. That was Mary Stuart Masterson. Doug. His name is Doug. Right. So, they end up going back to Mike's house because they find out that Abby is in trouble. They get there, and it's kind of creepy. But Abby is possessed by the marionette, but Mike uses the music box to put the marionette back to sleep. And they're surrounded by the toy animatronics, and you wonder, like, how they still going if she's gone. Well, because Michael is now there, who reveals himself as Michael Afton, Vanessa's brother, who wants to continue his father's murders. He orders the toy animatronics to kill them, but I forgot to mention, Mike, wanting to help Abby, goes back to the franchise location and pleads with the spirits to help Abby. They arrive and destroy the toy animatronics. I mean, they just empower them. Destroy them into robots, so you know. Yeah. And this is where I feel like we needed to set up for a sequel. So Michael just runs off, right? And the possessed animatronics can no longer keep going. They're too far away from Freddy Fazbear's, so they're going to go to heaven. They say they'll see Abby there soon. But the little boy that is Freddy says that with us gone, no longer will be able to hold him back. He'll be able to get free, which of course is Afton or Springtrap, whatever you want to call him. Which is what everyone wanted to see in this movie, but this is one of the most confusing things. So they all go to leave for some reason, and Mike says, no, you stay away from us. And I'm like, but why? Like, he doesn't trust her anymore because she didn't tell him about her brother. Well, she didn't tell you about her father either, and you still trusted her at the beginning of this movie, so what's the point? But he's like, nope, no one to do with you. But that's not the confusing part. They're all leaving their own house. And I'm watching this going, did I miss something? Did they go somewhere else? Where are they going? Why are they leaving their own house? I don't understand it. Where are they going? It's like at the end of Halloween 2, where they're being put in an ambulance, and they're already at the hospital, so where are they going? In the ambulance. That always confuses me too. Like, Laurie gets put in the back of the ambulance with Jimmy, and it's like, but where are they taking them? Because they're already at the fucking hospital. And it's here. They're leaving the house. Where are you going? That's your house. What? Huh? Right? Because Mike closed the fucking music box, the marionette is still around, and it possesses Vanessa. And the movie ends. I had to rewind this 3 times because I kept getting distracted, and then it would just go. I'm like, what happened? It was only twice. I don't know. I'm just like, what? And, yeah, because it ends so suddenly. Then, in a mid-credit scene, apparently they're going to tear down the franchise location. And there's a bunch of people who are trying to, raid the place and get stuff before it goes down. And they find Afton in a Springtrap suit. And they want to take that out of there. They say it's stinky because he's probably... But that does bring up another question. Nobody else could smell the other bodies in the other animatronics, but they could smell Afton's body in that one. And then there's not a post-credit scene, but there's a thing where you get audio from Henry Emily warning Mike that the marionette is going to come after him. So, I want to see a third one, and I want that to be the last one. Let's finish it up. And I feel like a lot of people's problems with this movie is because what they promised is not what they gave us. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why we didn't get the movie that they were promised at the end with Springtrap and all that. Because the first one made money, and they figured, hey, we don't need to go straight to that, right? They introduced the marionette, which is from the games. They introduced new things. I do feel, though, that Michael was just a rehash of Afton from the first one. Only he gets away for some reason. And that's where I think some of the problems are in this movie, is that there's no completion. There's no ending. How does this movie end? Michael gets away. The others leave their own house, and she gets possessed. Credits. And I even said, I'm watching this, I'm like, did they finish off the marionette and then she gets possessed? I'm like, nope. Because I know the music box, but the music box is not playing anymore. And I still want to know where they're going at the end of this movie, because where are they going? Are they going to go to Jeremiah's house? What? I don't know. There were some decent additions. I wanted more of Skeet Ulrich. I know people are going to be disappointed that he and Matthew Lillard didn't share any scenes. I wanted more Matthew Lillard than the dream sequence. I feel like that's another thing people are disappointed about. Because you show some of the stuff in the trailers and you're like, well, that's just a dream sequence. I liked Wayne Knight. He's an asshole, but Wayne Knight's good at playing assholes. Hello, Newman. Hello, Jerry. Yeah, he's good at playing those characters. And no, people are going to be frustrated about and or disappointed is McKenna Grace not being used as well as they thought she would. And yeah, it's kind of like, she's in this movie, but she doesn't do much. And even when she's possessed, it's not really her. It's weird. I don't know. But I enjoyed this. I'll give it a middle of the road. I thought it was on par with the first one. I don't remember what I gave the first one. Was it pretty good? I thought it was on par with the first one. It's the same director, the same writers. I think it works as a continuation of the first one. I get why people would be disappointed and have issues with it, but I don't get why people downright hate it. I know people didn't like the first one, so I don't know what they were expecting with this one. Right? I know people want it to be better. I know people wanted, but if you weren't a fan of the games and you watched the first one, and you didn't particularly care for it, why did you think you were gonna go and really liking this one? Right? If you thought the first one was just okay, why did you think this one was going to be good? I think it's good. I enjoyed it, okay? So what are your thoughts on Five Nights at Freddy's 2? Don't so much like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.